When you grow old, silently cut off 7 types of people. As the years add richness to your life, it's natural to seek tranquility and prioritize what truly matters. The people you allow into your life directly shape the quality of these precious moments. While relationships can be sources of love and joy, some become burdens, stealing energy, spreading negativity, or hindering your peace. In this stage of life, there is wisdom in knowing when to let go. Silently parting ways with certain types of people isn't an act of cruelty, but an essential step towards safeguarding your happiness. Here are 7 types of people to release, along with insights to inspire clarity and courage. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. The overbearing fixer. In every stage of life, we encounter people who feel the need to help us, often under the guise of care or concern. As we grow older, this dynamic can become particularly challenging. The overbearing fixer often comes into your life not with ill intentions, but with a deep-seated belief that they know better. They point out what they think you should do differently: your health regimen, how you manage your finances, the way you spend your time, or even the relationships you choose to nurture. At first glance, their actions might seem thoughtful. Perhaps they believe they're looking out for you. But over time, their unsolicited advice can feel suffocating, eroding your sense of autonomy. It's not just about the words they say. It's the underlying message that you're not capable of managing your own life that stings the most. After decades of navigating life's trials and triumphs, the last thing you need is someone treating you as though your judgment is flawed. When the overbearing fixer intrudes too often, their presence can overshadow your ability to enjoy the freedom you've earned. Growing older brings with it a unique privilege: the chance to live life on your own terms, unencumbered by the expectations or judgments of others. But this privilege can feel diminished if someone constantly questions your choices or implies that they know a better path for you. It's important to recognize the toll this dynamic takes, not only on your emotional well-being, but also on your relationships. Sometimes the fixer may genuinely care about you, but their inability to trust your decisions can create resentment. You find yourself hesitating to share your plans or joys, fearing their disapproval or corrections. Over time, the relationship becomes more about managing their opinions than enjoying a meaningful connection. Letting go of the overbearing fixer doesn't always mean cutting ties entirely. It can start with setting firm yet compassionate boundaries. If someone repeatedly offers unsolicited advice, you might respond with a gentle but clear statement: "I appreciate your concern, but I've thought this through and feel confident in my decision." This allows you to assert your independence without escalating tension. However, when the fixer refuses to respect these boundaries or continues to undermine your autonomy, it may be time to silently distance yourself. Walking away from someone who insists on fixing you is not about shutting people out. It's about making space for relationships that respect and honor your choices. Life is too precious to spend it defending your decisions or proving your competence to others. Surrounding yourself with individuals who trust and support you as you are can bring an immeasurable sense of peace and validation. In the end, letting go of the overbearing fixer is not an act of rejection. It's an act of self-respect. It's a decision to live authentically, to cherish the wisdom you've gained over the years, and to embrace the joy of making your own choices, free from unnecessary interference. Life's later years are meant to be a time of liberation, and choosing to protect your independence is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. 2. The drainer of joy. As you journey through life, the moments of joy you collect become treasures. Times spent laughing with loved ones, savoring a warm cup of coffee as the sun rises, or simply appreciating the beauty of the world around you. These are the moments that give life its richness and meaning. Yet, there are people who seem incapable of sharing in that joy. The drainer of joy is someone who intentionally or not diminishes these moments, casting shadows where there should be light. This person is not always easy to spot at first. They may not outwardly criticize or argue, but their negativity has a way of seeping into every interaction. Share a piece of good news with them, and instead of celebrating with you, they respond with skepticism or a dismissive comment. Tell them about a beautiful memory, and they find a way to point out what could have gone wrong or how it wasn't as special as you thought. Their perspective is perpetually clouded by cynicism, and over time, you may find their presence making your own world feel heavier. For someone who has lived through decades of challenges and triumphs, there's no longer room for that weight. By now, you understand the fleeting nature of joy and how vital it is to protect it. The drainer of joy, however, doesn't see this. To them, life is a series of disappointments, and they expect you to carry that burden with them. But you don't have to. You've earned the right to choose how you spend your time and with whom you share it. Parting ways with the drainer of joy is not an act of malice, it's an act of preservation of your spirit, your happiness, and the life you've worked so hard to build. This doesn't mean you must confront them or explain your decision. Often, silent distance is the gentlest approach. It's about allowing yourself to step away from their influence and toward relationships and experiences that lift you up. Imagine spending your days with people who not only share in your joys, but amplify them. These are the friends and loved ones who, when you recount a fond memory, laugh with you and maybe add their own. These are the people who, when you're feeling down, remind you of all the beauty still waiting to be discovered. By choosing to focus on such relationships, you're choosing to honor the joy in your life. Releasing the drainer of joy isn't always easy. There may be feelings of guilt or the fear of seeming unkind, but remember this: preserving your happiness is not selfish. It's a form of self-care that ensures you can continue to give your best to the people and activities that truly matter. By surrounding yourself with those who enrich your life, you create an environment where joy can flourish, unencumbered by negativity. Life's golden years are meant to be a celebration, a time to reflect on the beauty of what has been and to embrace the possibilities of what remains. Don't let the drainer of joy dim that light. Choose instead to fill your days with laughter, gratitude, and the warmth of those who truly cherish you. 3. The competitive companion. Life, at its heart, is not a contest. It's a journey filled with unique milestones, personal triumphs, and quiet joys. Yet, there are people who cannot help but view it otherwise. Those who always feel the need to compete, to measure their lives against yours, and to ensure their victories are more visible, their achievements more celebrated. These competitive companions might initially seem harmless, even engaging, but over time, their constant need to one-up can erode the genuine connection that every meaningful relationship requires. You might recognize this companion in subtle moments. Perhaps you share a story about a recent accomplishment, a craft project you finished, a garden you've nurtured, or a special moment with family, and they immediately follow with their own tale, somehow bigger, better, or more important. Maybe you express pride in a decision you've made, and they respond with advice that seems to belittle your choice or redirect the focus onto their own success. In every interaction, the unspoken message is clear. Their life is the benchmark, and yours is always compared against it. This dynamic can be especially disheartening in later years, when what you seek most is not competition, but connection. At this stage, you have nothing to prove to anyone. You've lived a full and textured life, one that cannot and should not be measured by someone else's yardstick. The competitive companion, however, thrives on comparison, and in doing so, they rob your moments of the celebration and acknowledgement they deserve. Their constant need to outshine can leave you feeling diminished, as if your achievements or joys are somehow less valuable. Letting go of a competitive companion is not about holding resentment or engaging in conflict. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are finite and choosing to invest them in relationships that nourish your spirit. True companionship is about mutual support where each person can shine without overshadowing the other. It's about celebrating each other's victories, big and small, without the shadow of envy or rivalry. Walking away from this dynamic can feel bittersweet, especially if the competitive companion is someone you've known for many years. You may question whether you're overreacting or whether the relationship is worth salvaging, but ask yourself, do you leave these interactions feeling uplifted or drained? Do you feel seen and valued, or do you feel like you're constantly trying to defend your worth? The answers will guide you. As you release the hold of the competitive companion, you create space for relationships that are grounded in authenticity and respect. Picture spending time with someone who listens as you share your triumphs, no matter how small, and who genuinely rejoices in your happiness. These are the relationships that bring a sense of fulfillment and peace, reminding you that life's true richness comes not from competition, but from connection. In your later years, the focus shifts naturally toward what truly matters: love, laughter, and the shared moments that make life beautiful. Letting go of the competitive companion allows you to fully embrace these values, free from the weight of comparison. It's not about winning or losing. It's about living fully and authentically, surrounded by people who cherish you just as you are. 4. The blamer. Life is a complex journey, filled with moments of triumph and failure, joy and heartache. As you reflect on the years behind you, it becomes clear that taking responsibility for your choices and learning from them is what gives life its depth and wisdom. Yet, there are people who resist this truth, the blamers, those who refuse to look inward and instead point fingers at the world for every setback, mistake, or missed opportunity. Their constant deflection creates an environment of negativity, and their refusal to grow from life's challenges can weigh heavily on those around them. A blamer's presence can feel draining, especially in your later years when peace and understanding are what you value most. Conversations with them often spiral into complaints about how others have wronged them, how circumstances have conspired against them, or how life has been unfair. Rarely, if ever, do they acknowledge their role in their struggles. Over time, their refusal to take ownership of their actions can create a toxic dynamic, one where you are left feeling either complicit in their unhappiness or burdened by their refusal to move forward. What makes this dynamic particularly harmful is the way it subtly shifts emotional responsibility onto you. Blamers often draw others into their narrative, seeking validation for their grievances, or even assigning guilt where none is deserved. You may find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to avoid becoming the target of their blame. Worse still, their inability to reflect on their own choices can stifle any hope for meaningful or growth-oriented conversations, leaving the relationship stagnant and unfulfilling. Letting go of a blamer is not about abandoning someone in need. It's about recognizing that their unwillingness to change is not something you can fix. This is a deeply personal realization, especially if the blamer is someone close to you. You may have spent years trying to help them see a different perspective, only to realize that your efforts are met with resistance or dismissal. The truth is, change must come from within, and no amount of support or encouragement can substitute for someone's own willingness to grow. Releasing a blamer from your life, or at the very least, creating emotional distance, allows you to reclaim your sense of peace. It's a decision to prioritize relationships where accountability, growth, and mutual respect are valued. Imagine spending your time with people who approach life with a sense of curiosity and responsibility, who see challenges not as burdens to pass on to others, but as opportunities for learning and resilience. These are the relationships that enrich your later years, offering companionship rooted in authenticity and shared understanding. This doesn't mean you must cut ties abruptly or without compassion. Sometimes, the most effective way to navigate a relationship with the blamer is through quiet detachment. By setting boundaries and gently stepping back, you can protect your emotional well-being without creating unnecessary conflict. Over time, you may find that this distance gives them space to reflect on their own patterns, though it's important to accept that they may never do so. Letting go of the blamer is ultimately an act of self-care. It's a recognition that your time and energy are precious, too valuable to be consumed by someone else's refusal to grow. In your later years, you deserve to surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, who approach life with the same grace and accountability you've worked so hard to cultivate. As you move forward, remember that this decision is not about anger or judgment, but about honoring your journey. You've carried your own burdens and learned from them. You are under no obligation to carry someone else's. By choosing peace over blame, you free yourself to fully embrace the beauty and wisdom of the years ahead. 5. The distant taker. Life's most fulfilling relationships are those built on a foundation of mutual care, a balanced exchange of love, support, and understanding. Yet, there are some who only take, offering little in return. The distant taker is someone who appears in your life not out of genuine connection, but when they need something from you. Their presence is fleeting, their interest often shallow, and their affection conditional upon what you can provide. Over time, these relationships can leave you feeling unseen and used, like a convenience rather than a cherished part of someone's life. The distant taker might show up unexpectedly, a phone call or visit that begins with pleasantries, but quickly shifts to their needs. Maybe they need a favor, a loan, advice, or emotional support. At first, you may feel glad to help. After all, generosity is a natural expression of love. But when their interactions become consistently one-sided, you begin to notice the absence of reciprocity. They rarely, if ever, check in on you without an ulterior motive. Their concern feels transactional, not heartfelt. As the years pass, these patterns become more pronounced. In your later years, when time and energy are increasingly precious, such relationships can feel especially burdensome. What makes these connections particularly painful is the subtle erosion of trust. You might find yourself questioning whether their presence in your life is rooted in genuine affection or simply convenience. This realization can leave an emotional ache, a longing for relationships that truly nourish your spirit. Choosing to let go of the distant taker is not an act of anger or rejection, but a reclaiming of your worth. You have spent decades giving to family, friends, and community. While giving can be its own reward, it is also important to receive, to feel valued, not just for what you provide, but for who you are. Holding on to relationships that consistently drain rather than replenish your emotional reserves prevents you from fully experiencing the richness of your later years. Letting go doesn't always mean cutting ties completely. Sometimes it's about recalibrating the relationship, setting boundaries that protect your well-being. When the distant taker reaches out, consider gently but firmly shifting the dynamic. Instead of automatically offering help, you might say, "I'm not in a position to do that right now," or redirect the conversation to focus on mutual interests rather than their immediate needs. This subtle shift can clarify whether the relationship has the potential to grow into something more balanced. However, in some cases, you may find that distancing yourself entirely is necessary. This decision can be difficult, particularly if the distant taker is someone you've known for years or care deeply about. But ask yourself, does their presence in your life bring you joy, or does it leave you feeling depleted? If the answer is consistently the latter, it may be time to step away with quiet grace. Releasing the distant taker opens space for relationships that are truly reciprocal. Picture spending your time with people who show up simply because they want to be in your company, who listen to your stories with genuine interest, and who ask how they can support you in return. These are the connections that bring warmth and fulfillment, reminding you of the beauty of shared humanity. It's also important to remember that letting go of a distant taker doesn't mean closing your heart to others. On the contrary, it allows you to direct your love and energy toward those who appreciate and value you fully. Whether it's nurturing existing relationships or forming new ones, choosing to prioritize mutual care is an affirmation of your own worth. In the end, parting ways with the distant taker is an act of self-respect. It's a recognition that you deserve relationships rooted in authenticity, not convenience. Life's later years are a time to cherish and be cherished, to give and receive in harmony. By letting go of those who only take, you create room for deeper connections, richer experiences, and the joy of being truly valued for the person you are. 6. The negative nostalgist. Memories are the threads that weave the tapestry of a life well lived. They carry the warmth of cherished moments, the lessons of past struggles, and the comfort of familiarity. But for some, the past becomes a refuge that overshadows the present, a place where they linger too long, steeped in regret, bitterness, or longing for what once was. The negative nostalgist is someone who views the past through a lens of discontent, constantly lamenting the good old days and dismissing the value of the here and now. At first, their reflections might seem harmless, even relatable. After all, who doesn't have moments of longing for the simplicity or joy of earlier years? But the negative nostalgist takes this longing further, allowing it to dominate their perspective. Their conversations are filled with complaints about how much better life used to be and how much worse it has become. They focus on missed opportunities, mistakes, or the belief that today's world has little to offer. This outlook, while understandable at times, can cast a shadow over your own ability to find meaning and beauty in the present. As you grow older, time becomes more precious, and the ability to appreciate the present moment is a gift worth cultivating. The negative nostalgist, however, pulls you backward, anchoring your thoughts in what's gone rather than what's still possible. Their constant lamenting can make it harder to see the joys of today. A walk in the crisp morning air, the laughter of grandchildren, or the satisfaction of a small accomplishment. Their focus on what's lost rather than what remains can sap your energy and subtly shape your own mindset toward negativity. Letting go of the negative nostalgist is not about dismissing the importance of the past. Your memories are sacred, and reflecting on them can bring deep comfort. But life is not meant to be lived in reverse. It's about finding a balance between honoring what came before and embracing what lies ahead. The negative nostalgia struggles to find this balance, and their inability to move forward can become a barrier to your own growth and happiness. Distancing yourself from such individuals may feel like an act of abandonment, but it's actually an act of preservation of your ability to find joy in the present and hope in the future. Instead of allowing their pessimism to cloud your perspective, seek out people who inspire gratitude and optimism. Surround yourself with those who cherish the memories of the past while celebrating the possibilities of today. Releasing the negative nostalgist from your life doesn't mean disregarding the past entirely. It means creating space for a healthier relationship with time, a perspective that honors the lessons and beauty of yesterday while allowing you to live fully in the moment. Spend time with individuals who share your appreciation for the present, who marvel at the beauty of a sunrise or take pride in a simple accomplishment. These are the people who help you find joy in the here and now. At its core, life is a series of moments, each one fleeting and irreplaceable. Allowing the negative nostalgist to dominate your thoughts risks losing those moments to a haze of regret or longing. By stepping away from their influence, you reclaim the ability to treasure each day for what it is, a gift. Ultimately, letting go of the negative nostalgist is a choice to live forward. It's a decision to value what you have now rather than mourn what's been lost. In doing so, you honor both the past and the future, creating a life filled with gratitude, joy, and purpose. This is your time to embrace the fullness of the present, surrounded by those who celebrate its beauty alongside you. 7. The subtle saboteur. Life, as you've learned through years of triumphs and trials, is shaped by the voices you allow into your heart. The supportive voices, those of friends and loved ones who encourage you, build confidence and strengthen your spirit. But among them, there can be whispers that erode, often so subtly that you don't notice at first. These are the voices of the subtle saboteurs, individuals who undermine your confidence, not with blatant criticism, but with quiet, seemingly harmless remarks that leave lingering doubt. The subtle saboteur may come across as caring or even well-meaning. Their comments often disguise themselves as concern or advice. They might say, "Are you sure you can manage that at your age?" Or, "That's a great idea, but it seems like a lot of work." On the surface, their words seem reasonable, even thoughtful. Yet, over time, you begin to notice how their remarks make you second-guess your decisions and question your capabilities. What's insidious about the subtle saboteur is that their influence feels almost invisible until you step back and recognize the impact they've had on your confidence. In your later years, when self-assurance should be a source of strength, the subtle saboteur's presence can be especially harmful. Their doubt casts shadows over your choices, making you hesitate when you might otherwise act with certainty. They create a quiet but persistent tension, making you feel as though you must justify your decisions or prove your worth. This kind of relationship can rob you of the peace and fulfillment that you've worked so hard to cultivate. Letting go of the subtle saboteur is not just about preserving your confidence. It's about reclaiming the trust you've earned in yourself. You've weathered life's storms, navigated its complexities, and gained a deep well of wisdom along the way. The opinions of others, particularly those who sow doubt, should never hold more weight than your own understanding of who you are and what you're capable of achieving. This doesn't mean cutting ties abruptly or harboring resentment. The subtle saboteur may not even realize the harm they're causing, but it does mean creating space, both physically and emotionally, for relationships that uplift rather than undermine. It's about surrounding yourself with people who see your potential and encourage you to pursue what brings you joy, not those who quietly plant seeds of uncertainty. Imagine spending your time with individuals who affirm your choices, who say, "That sounds exciting, go for it," instead of pointing out why it might not work. These are the voices that help you dream bigger, laugh harder, and live more fully. They remind you of your strength and celebrate your achievements without diminishing them. Releasing the subtle saboteur from your life is a declaration of your self-worth. It's an acknowledgement that you no longer have the energy or desire to entertain doubts that aren't your own. Life is too short, especially in its later years, to be held back by the quiet undercurrents of someone else's insecurity or negativity. As you let go of these influences, you'll find yourself lighter, freer to embrace the opportunities that remain ahead. You'll rediscover the joy of living unapologetically, guided by your own wisdom and surrounded by those who believe in you. This is the kind of companionship that makes the golden years truly golden, rich with love, laughter, and the confidence to live life on your own terms. In the end, letting go of the subtle saboteur is not about severing ties. It's about strengthening your own. It's about forging a connection with yourself that is unshakable, rooted in the knowledge that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of the peace and joy you've earned. By choosing to silence the voices of doubt, you open yourself to a life where the only voice that truly matters is your own. Embracing peace and authenticity in your golden years. As the years unfold, life becomes less about accumulation and more about distillation, distilling what truly matters and letting go of what no longer serves you. The relationships you keep in this stage of life should bring warmth to your heart, a sense of ease to your spirit, and a shared joy in the simple beauty of being alive. The act of releasing toxic or draining relationships isn't a rejection of others. It's an affirmation of yourself. It's a way of saying, I value my time, my peace, and the life I've built. Letting go can feel heavy at first, especially if it involves people who have been part of your life for years. But remember, life is a journey, and not everyone is meant to walk every step with you. Some relationships, while meaningful in their time, may have served their purpose. By parting ways, you're not erasing their impact, but choosing to honor the next chapter of your story. This stage of life is your chance to cultivate serenity, to savor the richness of moments unclouded by negativity or doubt. It's a time to celebrate the relationships that truly matter, the family who loves you without condition, the friends who support you without competition, and the companions who brighten your days simply by being there. In embracing this clarity, you create space for the relationships that uplift you, for the experiences that enrich your days, and for the peace that comes from living authentically. You deserve a life where every interaction brings either joy or growth, where every relationship reflects the respect and care you've given to others over the years. As you move forward, let gratitude guide you. Be thankful for the lessons each person has brought into your life, even those you've had to let go. Each encounter, no matter how challenging, has shaped you into the wise and resilient person you are today. But now, more than ever, is the time to focus on what remains, on the love, laughter, and light that make each day a treasure. Life's later years are not an ending. They are a culmination, a time to live with purpose, surrounded by the people and values that make life truly meaningful. Choose peace, choose joy, and most importantly, choose yourself. You've earned it. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.